Freedom Chef here. This is a Liberty Kitchen announcement. Australia's gone absolutely fucking bonkers. That's my official stance, and I figured I better give you all a rundown of just the things I've noticed. So WA want ankle bracelets for anybody found to be wearing COVID-19. Not even fucking pedophiles have to wear ankle bracelets, but I suppose people with a very low cause of death ratioed virus are far more dangerous than people who violate children. Good job, WA. You're kidding. Throw in this nonsense with individual specific laws for Clive Palmer. Now I think Clive's a bit of a goose, but he's also entitled to have his crack, and you know what? You guys aren't doing anything to make me think that you're not just as dodgy, if not more dodgy, than poor old Clive. Victorians, Dan Andrews is a lunatic. Anyone who thinks otherwise is a complete goose. He's got the whole state under house arrest, which is nonsense. Mandatory masks, again, nonsense. These guys can't make up their mind whether those things fucking save anybody or whether they don't. He's got drones flying over, checking whether you're home, whether you're not home, and pretty well brought in a police state as the military or police are eligible, from what I understand, to enter your home with or without permission or with or without a warrant. And he wants to extend his emergency powers for your own safety. You're kidding, Dan. Bash it up your ass, son. Now the complete panic and nonsense out of Palaszczuk. I'm going to save everyone, blah, 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 border closures, whatever. Complete nonsense relative to the numbers of COVID-19 cases up there. The China virus, as Trumpy likes to say. New South Wales is almost looking sensible by comparison to all these other maniacs, but let's be fair, it's only by comparison compared to these other maniacs as opposed to anything performance-wise that New South Wales has done. Berejiklian's no better. They're all pretty well the same. Feel free to check out the South Australian COVID Emergency Response Act 2020, 25A. That's the one that caught my attention. Removal of children. Essentially, if they don't believe that you're towing the COVID line, they can take your kids off you. Well, I fucking won't be tolerating that either. That's absolute bullshit, right? Unless a child is actually in real danger, not imagined government or mainstream media promoted danger, you leave families alone. Thank you very much. All the panic, fear, terror of mainstream media. Anybody who's heard anything about mainstream media in turn on TV since 2020 started, it's just panic and hysteria. Very rarely does any of it make any logical sense, certainly not based on the numbers, which I think it was the UK most recently who were found to have essentially fudged a whole shitload of numbers just to make it look far worse than it is. I made a previous video about banks cancelling people, cashless society stuff, so the Commonwealth Banks seem to think it's okay, among other banks, to target people specifically who they don't, well, I suspect it's because they don't agree with them. There's no way of checking, and when I check the banking ombudsman, there's not much we can do about that. That's just how it's going. What a shock. The PM did use the term mandatory vaccine. I mean, he backed down like a mongrel dog after he worked out that people really aren't going to toe that line and swallow that bullshit yet. I say yet because we all know eventually they will scare the majority of people into doing it. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope you all stand up and tell these people to bash their totalitarian shit up their ass. But until that starts to happen, he will eventually get what he's hoping for. And from the information I've read, him and Frydenberg really are only trying to keep the International Monetary Fund happy at the moment and toe the sort of line of those sort of guys. The Australian people have nothing to do with it. We're just the collateral that they like to use when they're running up their debts. The economy is on its arse. I don't care how they paint it. Job numbers are off the chart. We're watching small and medium businesses get destroyed, absolutely destroyed. And let's be fair, this is through no fault of their own. Well, in most cases, there's a few, obviously, that natural selection happens. But you can bet your ass the mega corporations are rubbing their hands together with glee. They've got the deep pockets, and they've got the governments here. They can essentially sit on and ride this out and watch the average Joes just lose either money, lose support, lose heart, lose clientele. These entrepreneurs and just hard-working people can only go so long when up against a corporate and governmental machine. using an invisible virus to control them and destroy them. So thanks a lot, guys. You're a bunch of scumbags. I've already touched on drones flying over Victoria. Yeah, look, shoot them out of the sky. That's absolute nonsense. You've got no right to be doing that. If I fly a drone over something, I can be charged with offences. So as far as I'm concerned, the government can meet the same criteria. Military lockdown, police state control. Dan Andrews is the tester pilot. He's loving it. ScoMo's allowing it because at the end of the day they want to be able to do this down the track. They're going to keep implementing it. Maybe I'm sounding a little bit paranoid, but there's no other logical reason for it. Our safety is not in any threat other than from our government officials and their stooges. So unfortunately, and I'm a man who's always been pretty supportive of military and police force, but if you're starting to do this sort of unsavoury shit in the name of dodgy politicians, you need to have a good hard look at yourselves and start to work out where you stand on freedom and liberty in this country. And we're talking about threats of no jab, no employment. Apparently for a vaccine that hasn't even been designed yet, or finished, completed yet, which based on timelines shouldn't be completed for another 5 to 10 years at the rates these guys tend to do it, but all of a sudden we're going to fast track it out of fear and paranoia if you don't accept whatever they want to inject into you. You'll find making a living very hard to do, which automatically makes you either a welfare recipient, which they'll bring that in as well. If you want your welfare payment, you'll need your mandatory vaccinations. How did thalidomide go? Does anyone remember? I remember. And I wasn't really even around, but I did meet some people who were on the wrong end of that shit, and this is the same sort of bullshit. Oh, let's all do it, it'll be great. It's fast-tracked and I don't trust it. There are plenty of vaccines that have been proven to be excellent, and I've got no problem with people choosing to take them all day long. But to even attempt to mandate something that isn't in existence yet just shows how off the planet these people are, power hungry and control hungry. So just so you lot are aware, Australia's gone fucking bonkers, and I'm going to be doing everything I can to support anybody who's standing up and fighting against this sort of nonsense. So yeah, look, scary times, guys. Keep your chins up the best you can. All try and work together. And the people who are happy to be led, hey, go and be led, but don't be surprised when people stand up in opposition, because I'll certainly be standing up in opposition of all this totalitarian nonsense. Again, have a great day.